we both saw Fantastic Four. We're going to start with non-spoilers, and then we'll go into spoilers. Other special guest, we got Herbie in the background.
Y'all, okay. Don't get me wrong. Don't come for me in the comments.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Podcasting While Nerdy. You're a Dad Nerd ADC and Brand 2K, and we both saw Fantastic Four recently, and we are going to let you know everything we thought about it. And trust, we're going to start with non-spoilers, and then we'll go into spoilers. You'll know when we're entering spoiler territory. We got you. We won't just go there. We'll let you know.
Absolutely.
But we're going to do some overall thoughts, and we got other special guest. We got Herbie in the background.
Y'all, okay. Don't get me wrong. Don't come for me in the comments. This isn't a ringing endorsement of the movie necessarily, but guys, if you've seen these, they're magical.
Right, don't come after us, Marvel. Oh, there we go.
All right, guys. As far as we'll do this really cool like popcorn bucket, review here, guys. All right, so I went to the AMC Dolby Cinema. Don't get me wrong. I hate paying for movie tickets, guys. Don't get me wrong. Out there, I understand. We had two different kind of experiences with it. I also had two different experiences with Superman. But as far as popcorn buckets go, guys, this is the most extravagant, most lavish, most ridiculous popcorn bucket I've ever seen. The Galactus one is big. Don't get me wrong. But like this has a candy has a candy container in the front there. You got your popcorn one that goes all the way to the bottom there. You got the 2-button action on the front. Herbie's a big part of the movie, guys, so make sure you guys if you can, this is kind of cool. It's fully articulated arms. It's very cool. Holds a ton of popcorn. I didn't put any popcorn in it, and I didn't put any. This is still mint, guys. Comment if you want to pick this up for like $300. But
I'll let it go for $300.
I'll let it go for $300. But you guys, the popcorn buckets were very indicative of the movie as well. A lot it is invested into this movie, and we're gonna get right into it. Adrian, you are the resident DC guy. You are, I would say, if I'm the gun, you're very much the forces behind the gun, the kinetics, the physics, the recoil, everything that makes it kind of work there. So give me your honest, spoiler-free kind of just pull this movie apart, kind of crack the egg open and take a peek in there for us.
I will say that when it comes to Marvel properties, just in general, I like the fringe stuff. So Fantastic Four, X-Men, that sort of thing are things I get excited about. So going in, I was pretty excited for this movie, and coming out, I was just as excited. So it met my expectations, but I didn't go with like super high ones. I went with I was excited, but I knew that I knew kind of what I was going to get, and I got what I thought I was going to get. Maybe put it that way.
Gotcha.
To me, this is, as far as expectation level, you should go in with the same expectation level you would with when you went in with for a Deadpool and Wolverine, where you're not expecting it to move mountains. You're not expecting it to move the narrative too far. You're just expecting a good time. If you go in just expecting a good time and not really getting answers, which I think Marvel needs to answer a lot right now, this movie doesn't do that. This movie very much could stand on its own. This movie very much could not go any further besides the post-credit scenes. Those kind of move you forward a little bit.
Post-credit scene, the second one was...
But the movie itself, if you were telling me this was, in DC's language, an Elseworld sort of thing, I would believe it. Because to me, there's nothing really here that really connects to a bigger picture too much. Because if they wanted to retcon this movie and act like this movie never happened, they very well could, in my opinion. If you take out that post-credit scene. But the movie overall...
Technically, it still could. Could.
Yeah, but overall, this movie stands on its own. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But don't go in expecting to really, have your mind blown as far as moving pieces of the puzzles across the board. Because that's not going to happen, I don't think. But overall, it does get a passing grade. I'm going to save my grade. But the grade is passing. It's not failing. It is fresh in Rotten Tomato terms. But it doesn't move the needle. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
How are you feeling?
All right, guys. Don't walk into this movie just like Adrian said. Don't walk into this movie with super expectations. This is very much it's a peek. It's a peek into the world of Fantastic Four, 4 years established. I kind of felt like it's funny how these movies kind of go into I keep drawing, like with Superman releasing, just the week before. I want to say that they tried to follow kind of the similar formula. No origin. We've seen these characters before, different ways. We know what to expect. How do we see these? How are these characters portrayed differently with the new actors? To be honest, I was really impressed with the acting. I think that it wasn't phoned in at all, which it kind of felt like it was on other iterations of this movie. I think the casting for Galactus was perfect. It wasn't done goofily like if you guys want to talk about X-Men Apocalypse with
right.
Trying to get the size. You guys have seen pictures. The size of Galactus, the scale of Galactus. They did a very good job of doing that. So overall, I think without setting anything up, without any kind of cameos or anything within the actual movie itself, I was happy with it. But like you said, you have to go in knowing that this isn't an MCU movie per se. This is this is the Fantastic Four that's going to be in Doomsday. Here you go. So I'm excited. Characters a little different. I think they're very well done. I think the Pedro Pascal fatigue is still, people aren't quite tired of him yet, which is good. I never watched Last of Us, so that keeps it fresh for me. Jin Djarin is a masked character, so I don't tie those two together as often as I could. But I will say that it's good. I think it's worth seeing, especially if you're a Fantastic Four fan, or even if you're just a Marvel fan. It's a cool movie of the summer. It's not that shut down, bar the gates, oh my gosh, here comes another blockbuster monster. But it is definitely an iteration of Marvel cinema. I will say that.
I think that's very well said. And that's no spoilers yet either. Just overall, I want to piggyback on what you said with casting. I would tend to agree with your casting, that the casting is very good. Everybody does their roles very, very well. Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards more than I thought I would.
Same.
I thought he played it for what this Reed Richards is, because I do think it takes some liberties on the Reed Richards character at times, but for what he was given, I do believe Pedro Pascal did a very, very good job. I
think Joseph Quinn stole it. I
would agree. The Human Torch was great in this movie. Stranger Things is what I know for.
I was nervous about Joe Quinn in that role for a second.
He's going to be compared to Chris Evans because that's he kind of made that role. But I think,
and Michael B. Jordan too. You gotta remember.
People forget about that one. I think even Michael B. Jordan wants you to forget about that one.
I would agree with that.
But no, I would think as far as for most of these roles, because I haven't really thought about it too much because I don't want to make this blanket statement yet, but I'm comfortable to say for most of these roles, I think actors did the best job of these characters.
Heads up, I would agree.
Alrighty then.
And there's a couple where I think I can lean one way or the other, but for most part, I can say this is the best version of the Fantastic Four you've seen on the big screen.
I would agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then I think the star of the movie, just like the star of the movie in Superman was Crypto, the star of this movie was Herbie, in my opinion.
I thought you were going to say Franklin.
Franklin is a close second.
I thought you were going to say Franklin.
I'm a huge Franklin fan. Like, as far as like Marvel characters, Franklin and Legion are like up there for me because I love both of them. They're both
they
very
fumbled
OP.
Legion though, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with
Franklin.
Yeah, man.
But they're both very OP characters. You're the Marvel guy, so correct me if I'm saying anything out of line here. But I would say probably the most OP characters in Marvel are probably Franklin and Legion.
They're both top 10. I would say Franklin's possibly top 5. I would agree. Legion, okay, it depends on the iteration of Legion, but they could both be top 5. But Franklin is a across the board top 5. You don't mess with.
And they do a lot of hinting in this movie of that.
Mm-hmm.
Things subtle, some things not so subtle. We'll get into those things. So I was one of those guys, and I think most people who see this movie will be. And this is not a spoiler. When it comes out that Sue's pregnant, I immediately leaned over. I was like,
I did that. I did that too. Yep.
But no, I'm really excited to see Franklin aged up eventually, hopefully. And I'm really excited in the Franklin character.
But here's the thing, though, with that Marvel seems to do on all occasions. Same thing with, like, don't get me wrong, Wanda Maximoff was a good iteration of an all-powerful character. Guys, he's stronger than Wanda. He's right there. He's on the same tier as Wanda. So here's my thing is if they decide not, like you said, they decide to just, they could not go with they said the Fantastic Four is going to be in Doomsday. What iteration of Fantastic Four? Is Reed going to be there? Is Franklin going to be there? Like, are all of them going to be there? Like, they could do whatever they want at this point. And I just, please don't introduce another character they're just not going to use.
Yeah, I'm hoping, I agree. Don't introduce Franklin just for fan service, just for like a cameo. If you bring in Franklin in, have him be Franklin Richards, you know, like make him matter, and he should.
I think they did set him up to be. So I'm hoping we'll see.
And I think we're starting to approach spoiler territory here, so I think we'll make that pivot a little bit, unless you have something to add before we get into full spoilers.
Let's give a grade. Let's put a grade on the non-spoilers, then let's talk through the movie spoilerish, and then we'll give another grade after that as well if it changes.
Sure. Once we talk through it. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before my initial off the dome grade, I gave Superman a B-. Do I feel this is as good, worse, or better than Superman? I think off the dome, and this may change, I think I'm going to give it a B- as well. I think it's on par with Superman. I like Superman a little bit better, but not so much as it's going to affect a grade, I don't think. Okay. I think it had a lot of the same issues as Superman did from a movie standpoint. So yeah, B-, I think it's fair for my initial grade. How about you?
I think I gave Superman a B because it was exciting, it was fun. I would probably put this right below Superman. Again, same thing. The issues of answering questions and stuff like that. I think they posed a lot more questions than they answered, which in this situation, it's okay to have the questions. Like I was saying off camera, this is just they could use it as a pivoting point. They use it as a stepping stone. They could use it as a toilet paper if they wanted to. But right. It was solid, and I'll give it a B. But I want to make it clear that Superman won this heads up.
And before we get into spoilers, overall audience agrees. Box office weekend, Superman edged out Fantastic Four, and that's not me trying to like rub it in anybody's face. That's just the facts. Superman objectively won opening weekend. Now, is it going to win final numbers? Who knows? But opening weekend went to Superman by I think by like
5 or 10 million, right?
5 to 10 million difference between the two.
Which kind of feels, I feel like grade-wise, I feel like, honestly, that feels right.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, just a moment. I want to make this quite clear. Here's the line. If you feel like you're going to cross it, feel like you want to cross it, into the spoiler zone, you're about to approach the spoiler zone.
Spoilers.
Countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2. You've been warned. Get the hell out.
I'll do one of these numbers when you can come back. Maybe so let's talk about spoilers. And I know that's probably gonna make it on the internet. Let's cut that out. So let's talk about spoilers. I want to start out by saying that I think they kind of hammed a little bit into. I was hinting at this, the Franklin Richards side of things a little bit. I'm gonna jump way ahead just because
because he wants to.
It proves this point. That last battle with Galactus, and Sue, I felt that scene went on way too long, and to me didn't make sense as far as her being able to do that for that long. I get like somebody has your baby and there's like that mom strength and stuff like that. I get
she died. Like spoiler, massive spoiler,
and that's what I'm about to get into.
Yeah,
because I didn't like that scene either. How they did that. So I felt like that final scene with her went way too long because she pushed him like 2 miles.
2 steps though, technically, right? But anyway. It was only like 5 New York City blocks. That's not bad.
But no, I just felt like I didn't like it. So, and also I didn't feel like Silver Surfer helping at the end was earned. I didn't feel like her redemption was earned. I felt like
he translated her whole speech out of. I felt like he put the work in. Like that's like a guy finding out what your favorite flower is and like bombarding your bedroom full of flowers, just the flowers. And she saw he was making the sacrifice. So she's like, I've already lost everything. I'm never going to do anything ever again. Let me just see what I can do.
Excuse my language. There's kids in the room. 1 second. You mean that bitch did not know that already? I'm sorry.
How many years?
I don't buy it.
How many years? We don't know how long it's been since Shia LaBeouf sacrificed herself to go to be the Herald. It could have been a million years. And
she needed a speaker to remind her of that?
No, not a speaker to remind her of that. The voices and her language, because she had forgotten. Like she had her language because that's obviously what she spoke and that's what she speaks in her head, and that's how like she has her language. But I guarantee you, she had forgotten her. Like, absolutely.
Sure. So to Brandon, it was earned. To me, it was not.
I don't think it was necessarily earned, just like it wasn't earned when he did it in the other movie when the guy Silver Surfer did it in the second movie.
I would agree.
The sacrifice was him finally realizing, kind of seeing the parallels, the family dynamic, and someone willing to make that sacrifice, and him going, you know what, I don't have anything left to go for. I'm gonna go take care of that. That was it. It doesn't have to be earned all the time. It doesn't have to always be earned. Sometimes that's built in the character, or it's built in Shia LaBeouf as the scientist and natural mother to save her kid and to save her people that she still had in her heart, and she had to be reminded of because it had been lost over the years of mindless destruction, where she would pick planets and of the however many years, at least 5 planets. We don't know how long it takes him to feed, and we don't know how long it takes him to regenerate. So this could have been over, because we have no idea. They went around a dang neutron star. It took her it was supposed to take her a month to escape. Remember?
I'm going to say this.
Timeline was all messed up.
You're talking that Marvel privilege right now.
Marvel privilege.
You're talking that Marvel privilege right now.
You're right, because like Luthor could just, snap his fingers, make a big bang, and create pocket universes, right?
Exactly. But you're talking that Marvel privilege because you wouldn't let DC get away with it.
I mean, they did. That's the first time I brought that whole crack in the universe open crap. Like, and Marvel, it just magically goes back together, Adrian. It just magically falls back together. There's not just a void rift between
Marvel privilege,
super ultra thing privilege. It just, things get to happen in superhero movies.
Okay,
not everything has to have an explanation, Batman fan.
Okay, so after,
how does a Batarang come back?
So after Sue Storm does that extra long push, longer than it took for Mr. Terrific to open that gate. That seems
we all can't be hackers.
Took way too long. But after that scene happens, Sue dies. And I feel like they hammed that up too much. Because I think most people who are seeing this movie know that Franklin's going to save her. Know that Franklin is the key. But they're just like, I feel like that scene dragged on too much. And then I feel like it's just very cheesy to me. So that they put Franklin on her chest.
He's a baby. How dare you? He's a baby. And if Bruce Wayne could have been on his mommy's chest and woke her up, he would have done that too.
But no, I didn't lie. Anyway, so there's that.
They had to show the exertion, and instead of doing a bloody nose like they did on Jessica Alba, they had to use a little more like finality for it, and they had to show the power of Franklin. That was all that was. That was just a way.
Already knew that.
No, because like we talked about with Superman just kind of expected you to know. They made it a good point to show just how strong Franklin is. That was the whole point of this whole movie, was to show how important Franklin is, which is why if they don't continue and use Franklin and make him part of the new Avengers or whatever they're going to do with him, they have to do it. And they have so much leeway now that he's a baby, and there's a whole bunch of stuff they can do. But I see your point. I see your point of it being so long, but I think they were just hamming it up to kind of give Franklin, because don't get me wrong, first they wanted to make sure to let us know how strong Invisible Woman was. That was the number one thing, was to let us know that these people have cosmic powers. So they had him had Ben run through the building to make the building fall down. Like, they wanted to make sure that we knew exactly how strong they were, and I honestly show how weak Reed is. I think power-wise, Reed's supposed to be the weakest link power-wise because
that's
of
the
his
other
brain.
thing. The dynamic of this was weird, because traditionally Reed's your leader, and this movie doesn't really come off that way. Yeah, he's a frontward-facing person to the public, but Sue's the leader of the Fantastic Four in this movie.
Bear, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as, like I said, that scene, like, to me, it wasn't so much proving how powerful Sue was. Like, to me, I took it as like what, like a mom can lift up a car if her
adrenaline.
baby.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I took that scene, because I don't think she would have been able to do that or would have that in her if Galactus didn't have Franklin in it. I think Franklin being in danger allowed that to happen.
Mm-hmm. But who else was going to do that?
No, I see your point there. The
They had to
power
do it.
set,
They had to.
the
They
power
had
set mattered. But I'm just saying, like, that still only got to that peak level because her baby was in it. So
Family's important.
that's kind of how I that's kind of how I took that scene. You know, like any parent would have like superhuman strength of a man saving their kid, sort of thing.
Yep.
But no. Also, and this is just like comic book laziness, comic book movie laziness. This is not this Fantastic Four, but
Hit me with it.
How quickly the public turned on the Fantastic Four, and how quickly they turned back onto the side of the Fantastic Four.
Same thing happened in Superman, though. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying
Absolutely.
it's a comic book thing.
Absolutely.
But like they come back and they have baby Franklin. Everyone's like, oh, freaking out about it. But when they realize like Earth could have been saved if Sue just gave up her baby, they're just like, how dare you not give up that baby? Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is it's so hypocrisy. But one thing I did enjoy about that is like that's real world. That's how we would act.
Yep.
It's just like and Sue ended up saying this in her own way, but basically she's just like, you motherfuckers won't give up your baby. Like, why are you putting that on me? Like, if the tables were turned, in her speech, she gives
the crap out of it.
In the speech, yeah, she said a lot more politically and stuff like that. But basically, that's what she said. She's like, you guys are hypocrites. You guys would not do the same. Everything we've given you guys, and you're doing this. That's kind of her speech, in my opinion.
Like, I think the line ended up being, I'm not giving up my baby to save you, but I'm not sacrificing you to save my baby.
Which basically is basically what I just
said. And they you're right. You put a little more, on it. But like, yeah, clips of Fast and Furious should be abound on this. It's all about family. We had 2 family meals in this movie, so like I kind of felt like instead of it being the power struggle with Johnny and Reed, or the comic relief of the Thing having a girlfriend, but like it's Natasha Lyonne, and then he's just kind of like super shy about it. That was cool of doing it that way, but I feel like with we talked about earlier in the spoiler free. So the character development in this is different than anything we've seen, because we got Reed and Sue as mommy and daddy now. We got Uncle. We have hardcore defensive uncles in Ben and Johnny, but then we don't have the distraction of the women as we do in other movies. So they're very much highly involved, not necessarily, not even just with the planning of everything, but they're contributing. And that is something we haven't seen in a Fantastic Four movie ever. I would say that's always been internal conflict.
Yeah. And I would say that was kind of a weird thing for Johnny. Like, I enjoyed the take a little bit, but also it's hard. Johnny as a character is a playboy. He's a womanizer. He's that guy. He's but they kind of make jokes about this too.
They do.
About for being a womanizer, you're not really around women too much. You know what I mean? Besides your sister. You know what I mean? Because they make a joke about him falling for the Silver Surfer so fast. So that was funny for the bit, but also it made me think about, I'm like, okay, you're kind of deviating from the character here, not really doing too much with that side of Johnny. I mean, like you see like women fall for him. You see like women love him, but you don't really see that interaction, which is interesting. It's more of like a celebrity crush sort of idea.
It was kind of like his obsession ended up giving him the answer. It's more of like he was crushing, and he was hyper fixated because of who it was. And if it was a male Silver Surfer, would he have solved it?
Right.
So it's interesting to see how they kind of pulled that out. I felt like the cooking dynamic of Ben was prevalent, and it's kind of funny how the casting of that with the bear, and then he comes in and does that. And I definitely heard cousin. Okay.
Yeah.
So no, it was good. But here's the funny part about our spoiler part. There's not a lot now that I'm thinking about it, there wasn't a lot.
There's not a lot
of the beginning. I think the first hour of the movie was spoiled in the credit or in the preview.
I'd agree with that. There's not a whole lot major to spoil here. Like, we could talk very vaguely in this, where we could probably still go up as a non-spoiler video.
Exactly.
Because there's not a lot that happens in this movie that's groundbreaking.
Not really. The depiction of Galactus is probably the only thing that I think was done differently that was like fresh. Like, I think the whole him as a body instead of a giant cloud was great. I think the mechanical aspect of the planet being broken down into minerals and nutrients and then fed into them was interesting. I think the whole fight where Reed opened up one of his vents kind of even made it more of a, like, don't get me wrong, the scale of him's massive, but it kind of made him beatable. I know they had to push him out of a portal, but still, spoiler. I know I had to push him out with a portal, but I felt like if he was up against a Captain Marvel, he'd be a little more susceptible of getting his ass whooped a little bit.
The other thing that didn't make sense for me was the whole plot device of needing to move the planet to get away from Galactus. And I mean, the way I say that, because even in Reed's PSA video, or when he's explaining it to the rest of the team, he moves
felt
an
like it
egg.
was rushed.
I agree. He proves his theory by being able to move an egg from one spot to another. But in that experience, there is another spot. There is another, you see what I'm saying? There's another like mechanism. And what I don't understand, the science isn't sciencing, even though it's fake science. Because and this is also unrealistic, but it's a Marvel movie, saw that pass. A comic book movie, saw that pass. You're never gonna get one city, let alone the whole nation, to agree to shut off the lights off at the same time. You can't even get the whole nation to wear a mask. You're not gonna get the whole nation to shut up.
There's logistics where substations could just shut off the power involuntarily as well.
But
I get you. I hear you. And they kind of made it feel like, hey guys, make sure you turn off your light switches. I got you. I totally understand.
So that kind of made me go, okay, sure.
I felt like that reality was also more. That's another thing. That reality was more. I mean, he changed the tape off of the robot, and that's what made him. You know what I mean? So like, totally understand where you're getting at. I totally get it.
So there was that part, but what I was getting at before I got that side tangent was the fact that all of the portals that whatever you want to call them, were at different parts on Earth. They're all on Earth that they're building these things. In Reed's theory, it seems like it has to be at its endpoint in order to work. So where exactly are you sending her? Because where exactly did you send Galactus? Because in his thing, there's a base and a base. And I get having to build bases to get the energy enough to do this, but there's still
it's also a point A and point B.
There is no point B.
Yeah, I got you. I feel you on that.
So that part of the psych, okay, the fake science was the sciencing.
As you think about that, I'll give you that. I'll give you that one. Yeah.
So that's something you just have to go with if you think about it long enough.
I felt like because even in Superman they had the portals and they had to return them. Nope. You're there. Your logic is sound. I got you on that one. That's something that definitely could be a tweet. Dang it. That's a good one. Okay. So does that change your grade at all?
A little bit. Honestly, the more I think about it.
Honestly, the reason I said that is because it kind of pulls it back to a B- for me.
It's a major plot.
It's a hole. It's a major hole. It's a hole. And they didn't really wow, you did it. You poked a big enough hole for me to go, okay. Yeah. All right. No. Yeah, B- for me, just because, there should have been an endpoint or an explanation as to why he didn't need an endpoint.
And they don't give one.
They don't. B-.
So maybe they'll find a way to create.
I bet you we never see those devices ever again. Especially now. Especially because of the plot hole. Because they've done stuff like this before.
A literal plot hole, by the way.
So you remember the Destroyer in Thor 1?
Yeah.
He's made of Uru metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's been done before and we never see it again and they never mention it again until they need to. And then it's back to being the move again. I promise you. Because then they made Stormbreaker out of Uru and then they're like, oh, well, it's magical. So it's going to be awesome. And here's the Bifrost magically again. So that, yeah, yes. So on that point, I would drop mine to a B-. Sounds like you would drop yours to a B- as well. Give me one gigantic. No, just give me one thing that you think this movie provided that not any other movie has provided before. That you think that's something that was different in this than any other movie that you've seen.
Any other movie or any other comic book?
Let's go comic movie because we're nerds.
Character development. if I think about just Fantastic Four movies, and that's kind of where my mind's going, is I agree with you. I agree that Sue, Reed, Thing, and Johnny are all more fleshed out than they've ever been. I believe some are more fleshed out than others, more because there's more time with them. But as an overall statement, I think that this team is, you get invested in every single one of them for different reasons, which I don't think you could say about any of the other Fantastic Four movies. Whether those Fantastic Four movies really leaned in on the campiness of it all, instead of Fan Four Stick, which was bad. That it wasn't really campy, it was just there. This movie has its campy moments, but it knows when to pull back and be serious. Like I think about like Rui living, like the Galactus was terrifying, or you know, you're in the moment when Sue's having her baby in space, you know. And because everything that's going around her, why this is happening, like you're like, are they gonna make it? You know, like, and the whole time she's having her baby, those sort of moments like really drew me into the movie, and like they knew how to do those moments and then have some levity afterwards. Like whether it was, this was the exact order, but whether it's like the Thing cooking or whatever it is, they knew how to levity. They know how to do deep moment and then levity with a joke or something or a fun moment. So I really appreciated that about this movie. Made it very enjoyable. I do think it has rewatchability, but I do also think it's a movie that in ways does require you to turn your brain, as we just pointed out. And I'm sorry I had to ruin Christmas for you.
You're good. You're good.
But
You're
no,
good.
This is that the major plot devices in this movie don't make sense, like I just said. And that's what brings it down for me if you really start thinking about it. It's just like, I don't feel like there was enough attention paid to the finer details.
Yeah, I feel like this was a broad stroke, and I think the more I think about it, the mission's been accomplished. They didn't want to make a, oh my gosh, here's a Fantastic Four movie. They wanted to go, hey, here's your introduction to Reed, Sue, Ben, and Johnny. This is and I think Galactus was just, as he always is, a way for them to showcase their teamwork, because it took all four of them. And I feel like Galactus on a normal day would be an Avenger level threat. I don't think he's a universal threat. I mean, obviously he eats planets, but I think the way they presented him, they used him as a character device rather than a world or a universe ending entity.
I agree. They downplayed him.
I don't even think they necessarily downplayed him. I think it's just like with Superman and the Fantastic Four. This is an early version of Galactus. He's not defeated. He's been sent away somewhere, which he can always seems to pop back up somewhere, right? And it didn't feel like a final. It definitely felt like a delay tactic, which it always ends up being, because you never end up beating him. I think they did a good job with the story of Franklin being the Devourer, that he could transfer, that he would be able to do that. And that kind of they've done so much to establish these characters, especially like a platform for Franklin. I think if they don't use this as a stepping off point, that's a giant mistake. But I do believe that this was just, like I said, a peak. This was, hey, here's the Fantastic Four, hear them roar. Let's see him in the next one. And I think that detracts it from being the movie it could have been. But I also don't think they care.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the best thing about this movie, as far as, like I said before, as far as setting up for more, are the end credit scenes.
The second one, did I miss something on the second one?
So there's two. The first one is Your Doom, and the second one is the Thunderbolts see the Fantastic Four. Shit.
Pause.
You didn't see that one?
All I saw was the commercial of I saw the intro to Fantastic Four.
No, there's two scenes.
Heck, hold on.
You're like, wait a minute, this is news to me.
Is it End Thunderbolts or is it End of Fantastic Four?
End of Fantastic. There's two. And I could break down the scenes for you, Phil.
No, I didn't see it. Yeah, we saw that. Where's the? See if they have it. I thought we watched all the way through, but it was the only thing I saw was the intro to the Fantastic Four animated show. Yeah. Okay. Saw that. Possible Man. Yeah. Okay. He didn't show it to me, but what about the Thunderbolts? What about the Thunderbolts?
So you saw the Doom one?
Saw Doom, and I saw the animation where they showed a bunch of the villains they had fought in the intro. But what else was there?
So you saw Franklin talking to Doom, and
yeah.
Doom. Okay. So the Thunderbolts one, the Thunderbolts are talking. They're in their spaceship. they're in space. I don't know why they're in space, but they're in space, or they're looking at space. One of the two. I got the idea that they were in space. So they're on like in the spaceship, and they're looking out the window or whatever, and they see the Fantastic Four rocket go by, obviously saying that they're in 616.
No, I got nothing. If you can find it, I got nothing. I also need to watch Thunderbolts tonight. I think it's on Disney already. I'll just rent it. It's fine.
Oh, it's the end credit scene in Thunderbolts, not Fantastic Four.
That's what I thought.
But
I'll
no,
see that then.
But Doom is him talking to Franklin.
Yep.
Is one that in the credit scenes up.
And it's not even, we get a flash of them sitting together, and he's got his hand on his face, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which means he fixes
Franklin's
his face.
kind of reaching for his face because he has his mask off.
Touching it. Pretty sure he's touching it, but it's fine.
But-
Yeah, so that obviously sets up Doomsday.
Yeah. So
And they showed Latveria, and they showed,
yeah, and that spot being empty and nobody representing Latveria was there, which I thought.
Oh, they were protesting. They were there on purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's how it kind of felt to me.
But no. So I will say, yeah, this movie brings down a little bit because of the plot points, but
Yep.
still not telling you not to go see it. I still encourage you to go see it.
Absolutely.
To me, you can like both, and it's not a problem. I like Superman and I like Fantastic Four. I like both of them.
That's how I felt. I like both of them for sure.
This is not war. This is not pick a side. You can like both. You can support both. You hear that, you Snyder fans? Support both.
Yeah, I bought a movie ticket. How about two? I bought two. I saw it twice.
So then I plan to probably see Fantastic Four and Superman one more time too, probably this weekend actually. Probably see both of them. Maybe back to back actually. But no, let us know in the comments what you guys think. We'd like to know what grade you're gonna give this and what you feel. If you haven't checked out our Superman coverage, be sure to check that out. We got a spoiler heavy review out there for your viewing pleasure. Let us know what you thought about Superman if you've seen that as well.
As always, guys, hit that subscribe button. It's underneath Adrian. Hit the subscribe button, hit that bell. Make sure you guys are always tuned into what we're doing because we're always putting out something cool. We always got something coming down the pipeline. And Adrian, what else? Is there anything I'm forgetting?
You are forgetting something, and that's that we need to tell them too. Keep it nerdy.
Later, guys. Love y'all.